Second time's the charm.
What second time, Roscoe? There's no second time. We didn't mess up. Roscoe, there's a lot of stuff that happened. We got notes. We got these magnifying glass. Let's dissect this episode. We just watched the second season of ReZero, episode 23. What are your thoughts?
Spicy. This episode has spicy soul. And mildly kind of weird, kind of suspiciously problematic. But that's a story for a whole nother time. What were your thoughts?
My thoughts is the thing that I said before in text. If you guys don't know, we text each other our thoughts sometimes
How would
when
they
we're
know?
done watching an episode. Huh?
How would they know?
No, I said if you guys didn't know.
How would they know? Do you think our that one person that watches the show just like it's the FBI and they're just stalking our phones?
I don't underestimate the internet. They may as well. They know you more than you know yourself,
You're right.
Roscoe.
You're right.
Yeah, so my thought of the episode is like, if I wish that if Twilight was about Ursula, it would have been way more interesting. That's like my initial thought that came back off of it. I was like, dang, man, that was kind of out of nowhere. And you seem like you have a backstory that I really want to know more about now.
Yeah. Yeah. She hit us hard. That was like she.
And I love the fact that Garfield was like, shut the fuck up. I don't want to hear any of this shit.
Yeah.
I don't give a fuck. Stop telling me your sad backstory. I don't give a fuck.
Yeah.
The only backstory that people can listen to is my sad backstory.
Bro, nobody cares about. That's how I feel about his backstory. That is exactly how he feels about her backstory. I feel exact the same way.
But yeah, man, like this episode was super dense. I really liked it a lot. There was just so much that's happening on, and like it's like classic ReZero. You get like a lot of conclusions and answers to questions that you had earlier on, and now you have even more questions or even like just more interesting tidbits. You really want to know when the fuck this happened and why hasn't no one told us about it?
Yeah. If you have already watched this episode, which I hope you have, you knew it was gonna be a good one when we did not see a opening credits.
Yeah.
When that popped into my head, I was like, oh, here we go again. I think this is probably the best episode of the season so far.
I wouldn't disagree. I think it's really, really good. I think it's a really, really solid episode. I was super interested up to the very end, and we get that yeet scene.
Yeah.
Oh, that no. Strong yeet.
Dude, I called that like the second, like 5 seconds later, I was like, oh shoot, she's gonna die.
It was like I was like, oh man, I saw that ugly face. I saw that when someone's about to ugly cry or whatever, and I was like, man, Rab is so fucked.
That was like the equivalent of like your girlfriend throwing out your Xbox or throwing your Xbox into the trash.
You're not wrong.
Like, oh, he's about to go.
But yeah, so Roscoe, do you want to recap the episode before we go into our like thoughts and stuff?
Yeah, I will. So just real quick, after seeing Breaktime, how Roswell handled that book in the episode 22's Breaktime. Mm-hmm. That definitely seems like that was like his precious.
Yeah, it was pretty fucked up. As soon as ran through that shit, it was just like, oh man, this dude's gonna snap. You don't know what you just caused.
Yeah, so I just want to put this out here. Some of the summaries that I'm pulling up are coming from Wikipedia. If you guys ever want to check that out, they do a really good job at recapping. Just in case, like me, I tend to forget what is going on in most of the episodes because there's just so much information they just throw at you throughout the season, and you don't know what is going to stick, what's going to be important, what's not going to be important. But episode 23, Love Me Down to My Blood and Guts. Super metal. We were saying our last recording. That is a very, very metal 9-inch nails of a name.
Yeah.
We kick it off with Subaru stopping the guilty low. I did not think he was going to be able to do it, but he did.
You're saying he. There was no he in all this. There was other people.
Oh yeah, this is kind of, well, he tried. He started it off. They lured the guilty low into the library. He set, like, I don't know, I think he like set a fire or something like that, or set like a candle down. He like tried to throw dust or like ashes or something into the air, thinking he was gonna start a dust fire. That backfired, did not work. And then yeah, Otto just showed out of nowhere with his oil canisters and set like the room on fire, causing the monster to burn to death. Also, just want to point out that Subaru's crystal is not working at all. You can see outside, like there were so many different monsters coming their way.
Yeah. They said it yesterday. They said it yesterday. That crystal does not work at all.
It is
not yesterday, but last episode they said the crystal doesn't work at all.
I think it's mostly because of what is her name?
Millie.
Millie? Yeah, I think Millie as a Beastmaster, like her calling them out ranks the magic of the crystal.
Yeah, I think Millie is like just more aware because like she did it the first time and then that was a problem, and I think she just like made her creatures control or whatever the beast like stronger so they don't get affected by the crystal.
Yeah. But now the price of killing this guilty low is that the entire mansion is on fire. Group split up as Otto, Rim, and Petra. They go to escape. Subaru, for some reason, being the weakest person in the whole group, maybe next to Petra. I bet Petra's probably even stronger than him. We'll probably find out sooner or later. Stays behind to rescue Beatrice. And he's not alone in his faith to do it, because good old Garfield has the utmost faith that Subaru can stop the monsters in one blow, because he is the strongest character in the show. Meanwhile, back at the graveyard, Amelia is finishes the third trial. She is put into a series of futures. Things could happen. We hear a lot of voices coming from a lot of different directions of these stars that are blending around and spinning around her, telling her these futures. We get one definite possible apocalypse where she is telling this person that I have always hated you. I will always hate you. And we see this post-apocalyptic Dark Souls of a world where only Amelia seems to be standing, addressing this person off screen who we do not know.
Who could be like dead or not dead, but she definitely has murdered like a couple people.
Yes, we have seen full yandere Amelia mode, in my theory. She finishes that. She learns that she is able to accept that, this could happen, but she has faith in her friends and Subaru that they can change the future. Amelia shows up in the garden. Minerva's there, which I believe is the Witch of Wrath.
Yeah,
the Witch of Wrath. She shows up behind Amelia, like is threatening to kill her. She moves, or seemingly threatening to kill her where she stands if she turns around to see her face. She mentions that she knows Amelia's mother, and that the relationship between Amelia and her mother, Amelia and Mother Fortuna, was orchestrated according to a plan. Minerva lets her go, for Amelia makes the vow that like next time they're going to see each other, that they're going to have a tea party. Well, Amelia turns around. Minerva ends up hugging her, which was, I guess, not something we super expected. Waking up, Amelia enters the grave of Echidna and undoes the magic power in the barrier. The barrier is gone now. We don't really get to see the effects of what that means yet. We do, however, get to see that when she exits the sanctuary, the world is covered in a blizzard.
Yeah, there's a blizzard happening.
Yeah. And so we jump back to Garfield and Frederica. They're fighting. Garfield transforms into the beast form, tries to kill. He murders the hippopotamus.
Yeah, yeah. That's one thing. Like I like one thing. Like I'm always like I like about the show where it's like, everything. There's so much downtime where it's like, man, I wonder why. Like I wonder why I was so afraid of someone. Like why was like this person terrifying and not terrifying anymore? And the show just like does the violence just right, so you're like, oh fuck, this is actually fucking terrifying how strong these people are, right? Like this is no joke.
He freaking Beyblades this like the hippopotamus's head off.
Well, not even like just that one. Like when he hits Ursula in the head, when he goes like just makes his arm like a beast mode, hits her in the head, and then like it takes off a chunk of her head.
Yeah. There is a revelation. Garfield reveals that he knows that Elsa is a vampire, and he knows that although she seems to be invulnerable, that if he kills her enough times, he believes that she will die. Elsa reveals like her background. We find that she has a very, very dark past.
She is really pushing like all that skill of like, man, that is a sad anime backstory. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, that is
it is up there. That is fucked up.
Yeah, she is. She grows up in poverty. She was an orphan. She's abused by like several people, or she was abused growing up. And then like she fought back, and that kind of led to her developing a taste for blood
And innards.
Yes, and innards. She found that the only way she could find the warmth of find an inner warmth, or like find any sort of warmth in her heart is through the warmth of other people's guts and innards. During the fight, Elsa's distracted while Millie is in danger. Garfield takes advantage of that. Frederica, though, manages to rescue her despite, despite Melee trying to kill them, actually killing them in the past, allowing Garfield to bite Elsa's neck. It was such a weird scene to watch. I'm just gonna skip around. Garfield crushes Elsa underneath the weight of the giant hippopotamus. I refuse to call it a rock pig. It is a giant hippopotamus. We don't know if she's dead. Probably not. Meanwhile, we cut back to the sanctuary. This seems to be in the past, relative to when Amelia escapes the sanctuary, because there's no snow at this point. The snow apocalypse has not started. Puck and Ram are continuing their battle against Roswell. In the fight, he reveals that he intentionally put the spell on Amelia's contract before they enter the sanctuary in order to make her slip up and rely on Subaru. So the entire time, while in the beginning of the second season, when we saw that for some reason Puck was gone for a lot of the time, that was the reason, because Roswell had put a spell on Puck, also seemingly blocking Puck's memory of what had happened.
Ram, it seemed like he interfered with the contract in a major way.
Yeah. And Ram also reveals that she loves Roswell despite in full lieu of him basically what is the word that you said? What was the thing? What is that effect where you kidnap somebody?
Oh, Stockholm syndrome.
Yes. She reveals that she has complete Stockholm syndrome.
But pretty much, she's like, yeah, you murdered all my family and made us maids.
Yeah.
But it's all cool. It's water under the bridge.
Water under the bridge.
And this is not even going into the part where she doesn't remember that he's the main cause, that her sister, that the only thing she used to love is in a coma. Roswell actually kills her.
Yeah.
Or is willing to kill her. There's a lot of shit here.
Yeah, and Roswell apparently did not know. He did not know that she felt this way. Is completely put off by it. After a diversion from Puck, who like pretends that he does like a pump fake where he pretends that he is in apocalypse mode, Puckpocalypse mode. Ram steals the tome from Garfield, throwing it away in the fire, which enrages Roswell, and he shoots a giant blast of fire, which seems like probably killed Ram, but we don't know yet.
It yeeted her so hard.
Yeah, she got, at the very least, she was yeeted.
That shit was funny. Well, it's not funny, but yeah, it was kind of funny.
I just remember the last moment, I was like, yeah, she's about to die. Yeah, and that is the end of my recap for this episode. We're ready to go into, not speculation zone, what are we, question zone? What do we call this segment? Observations. Do you have any observations? Nobody.
Yeah. I guess like where I want to start off, I'm probably gonna start my theories from like beginning to end, like staying close to the beginning, and then working through the episode, like the recap, I guess. But okay, first off, when did Garfield become a fucking earthbender?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I completely forgot about that.
I was like, bro, you had this power the whole time. How do you not fuck up everybody?
Yeah.
Right.
So we saw he has this earth protection that allows him to fight, to basically bend earth and attack anyone as long as he's able to see them.
Yeah. And then the second one was a little bit more palatable, I guess. Where it's like Ursula's power is pretty cool, and it makes a lot of sense. It makes sense why she's such a cockroach.
Yeah.
Ursula has the power to just heal herself whenever she wants.
Yeah, she's a vampire. And that also explains why we haven't seen her during the daytime. Anytime we've seen her, it's always been during that. Yeah, I noticed that I was watching. I was like, I guess that makes sense because we haven't seen her during in the nighttime.
Yeah, and like I don't know, like the other thing that makes it very interesting is like it just immediately questions like, what does vampires mean in this world, right? Like there's so much more information that we should know about. Are vampires just more pronounced in the north or something? And then on top of that, like they just briefly mentioned that one of the witches were a vampire, and was it Echidna? Because that's probably the one that makes the most sense based off like where Garfield grew up, right? Since like the witch breed was just so pronounced, right, in his area. And then like I think that kind of makes sense if Echidna was a vampire, because I think it works if vampires works like generally the same way they work in like in our mythology or whatever, it would help her stay alive longer.
What about Pandora?
I
was thinking that, like, I think you're right. It could be not Ursula. It could be Echidna. It could be Pandora, or I think also like another person it could be the Witch's Sloth.
Who?
I just think she looks like a vampire. That's only. But I mean, it would make sense if it was Pandora, because Pandora, we have seen her be murdered. It just comes back.
That is true. That is so true. Like maybe Pandora just has a more like a stronger version of this power.
But
or maybe she's just like a more original vampire.
Yeah, or it could just be that she has the power of revision.
Yeah, I don't know. It did still come off like she just had the power of narration. Yeah. She was like, I am gonna retcon the hell out of this.
So those are either possibilities.
Yeah, but yeah, I just find that super interesting. I felt exactly how we felt like a couple episodes ago. I think you said this, where it's like, he's like, if you told me like a couple days ago that there was like demons in this show, I wouldn't believe you. And like the same thing I have here. It's like, if you told me like a couple days ago that there's gonna be vampires in the show, I wouldn't have believed you. I'd be like, yeah, there's too much stuff in here already.
Yeah, man. So we gotta like start thinking about other things that could be in this show. Like, we know there are dragons. We know there are ogres, I think.
Yeah, there's beast people. There's whales.
Yeah, there's whales. There, we haven't seen a sphinx yet.
Yeah, we
I'm gonna
haven't seen
imagine there's a
sphinx.
sphinx somewhere.
Oh man, I'm trying to think if there's anything else that would make sense in the story. It's
Zombies?
so zombies make sense. Like because kind of that's kind of what like Echidna was offering Subaru, right? Like I guess,
Hmm.
right? Like because he was like a kind of pseudo your sunken place kind of thing. That's what the offer came off as to me.
Yeah.
But like actually not terrifying, but actually like kind of happy where you're in a fake imaginary bliss. Oh, what else? I'm trying to think if there's any other like things. Um, maybe we pull from something that's even more like just from a like another mythology. Maybe the snake that we hear, the heavy that we hear about is like Norman Gander in a way.
Yeah. I think you might be right.
Um, maybe like that.
Could we also have the world serpent as well, or is that the same thing? Yeah.
Yeah. Norman Gander is the world serpent. Trying to think of like another like I don't know, because like the story just pulls a lot of stuff from like a lot of different fairy tales and myths, and it's super interesting.
Mm.
Like even just like the naming of every character, right? Like it's like, oh, this person's called literally called Ursula, or like Frederica or whatever. Not Frederica, but like fairy tale names and stuff like that.
Mm.
Um, who else has like a fairy tale name? Well, Echidna has like a name that's straight out of like Greek mythology. A lot of the witches do. Like I think Typhon or whatever is a Greek mythology thing. The green hair one.
Yeah. Minerva is the god of wisdom, or is she the god of wisdom or the god of hunting?
Sekhmet is an Egyptian god, right?
Yep. And Pandora is the woman that released evil into the world, which goes into my
Yeah.
theory.
Yeah, that's a Greek one. But yeah, like I was saying, like the show pulls from so many mythologies. I wouldn't be surprised if they're like gonna try to make a connection with the Hebi and like Norman Gander. I'm trying to think of like if there's any Japanese like mythology that would work in this story, um, particularly well, or characters. I mean, like mythology characters. Maybe like the spider women people.
Mm. Or we could have like Arachne or something like that as well, or like
Yeah.
a Medusa character. We already kind of have Prince Charming.
But yeah, I was just saying like I guess another thing that makes this so super interesting is like it pulls from a lot of different mythologies, and like the naming of the characters seem to work very well. Like Echidna's name makes a lot of sense as this person that spawns a whole bunch of evil shit, because that's what Echidna was pretty much in the mythology of Greek, right? Like she was like the mother of all the kind of minotaurs and like evil demons that came, not demons but like monsters that came out of Greek mythology.
I don't know. Let me look. I'm not. I think you're probably. That sounds about right, but I don't know.
Yeah. We'll see. Someone will correct us or someone will not correct us. And if no one corrects us, I'm right.
Oh, you know what? You know what's funny? In one of our texts, I think you also mentioned this as well at another point, where I don't remember exactly what you said, but I remember what I said is like, wait, did I say this about Echidna? I said, is Echidna like just this world's version of Orochimaru? And like, which is funny that I mentioned that because in mythology, Echidna is a half woman, half snake monster who
Yeah.
lives alone in a
Yeah.
cave.
Yeah. And I remember my answers to that. I was like, yeah, Echidna is Orochimaru, but better. Because she actually, like, it's hard to tell. Like, it's just like a snake. Like, you can't tell.
Yeah.
But yeah, that was my point. I have some more points. So you have anything you want to, like, think about or, like, observe, I guess, or talk about?
Oh, I have so many, dude. I have so many. I have so many things. We're gonna start off with the one. Just something I noticed is that like when Amelia exited to like the end of the sanctuary where Echidna's grave was being held, there was a door, and it seemed to be a seal. It looked like similar to the seal we saw in the few episodes prior during the prequels section. So I'm wondering if the seal that we saw in the prequel section was also like the home of a witch.
Hmm. Hmm. Maybe it's also like working with like Beatrice's door stuff, where it can like lead to somewhere else.
That's true. It could be that.
Yeah, yeah. I guess like, do you think it seems like we're done in the graveyard, not the graveyard. Yeah, the graveyard. Do you think we're ever gonna have to go back to this graveyard for any reason?
I don't see why we would. I don't think there's anything really after the citizens are able to leave and the graveyard is cleared. I don't think that we're gonna come back other than like we could come back for Beatrice. Like Beatrice might have an arc there, but we could, I think, outside of recaps and like flashbacks, I don't see us coming back here too often.
Oh, and another thing I want to throw out right now. What is Amelia's hands made out of? Is it just fucking stones? Because she just punches a glass case open.
It was magic.
Oh, I thought it was glass.
It was magical glass.
She just punches. I thought it was just a glass case, and then she punches it. And I was like, holy shit. That seems intense. But I guess like going off that point, did Amelia recognize that was Echidna? Because she was like saying, "Who is this person?"
I didn't see that part.
I mean, let me just double check to make sure I'm thinking. But like, they didn't show the person's face or whatever. But she was saying like, I think she said like, "Who is this?" or whatever. She didn't say like this was Echidna, I don't think. But like off that point too, like, did she just kill Echidna? Is Echidna technically even more dead now? If that was Echidna in that case?
I don't know. She could have woken her up, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe the amount of magic that she has to produce, like to keep the barrier up, is what's like partially keeping her in slumber.
Mm-hmm. I could see that. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't think Echidna is the type of person that wants to die.
Yeah, I get that distinct feeling that she's really against dying for some reason.
Yeah, and from what we saw in the break time, she seems like she has a plan. This is all according to her plan. That, according to her, is not a bad plan. It's a good plan.
Yeah. I guess this is another time to bring up break time. So yeah, we watched the break time. We watched episode 23 and 22 of the break time. Episode 22 of the break time is just pretty much Ram talking to Puck and explaining. Pretty much, Puck figures out that Ram figures out that Puck's in the amulet that Subaru gives her, and they're having this whole kind of conversation about like, what does Puck think of Rosario, and we just figure out pretty much Rosario is a sad boy, but we also figure out that Rosario is only human, so he's not a spirit, if we can believe the break times.
But he is still really, really old though. Which leads to other questions.
Yeah. But yeah, very, very sad boy times for Rosario. And in the next episode 23 of the break time, we focus on the witches, and it's just the witches having a tea party, and all of them are there. The most interesting part from my thing was like they kind of confirmed that girl was not Stella in their conversation. And then like you said, Roscoe, Reed pretty much hints that she tells that everyone that she can see all these possibilities, and she kind of says that she says she has a plan, and she says it's not a bad plan, it's a good plan, guys, it's totally a good plan.
Which kind of confirms, like, I've had this suspicion. I've suspected that Echidna had some, like, at least some sort of knowledge of the different types of realities that could exist. It seemed that to make sense that if she could create a test that would allow Subaru to see all of his different pasts or presents, that she also has like a good idea of like planning the past, present, and future.
And before we move on to something, because I want to like leaning on that, like I want to talk about something. But before we move on to that, yeah, in the as soon as she gets to the grave kind of thing or whatever, she says, "Who is this?"
Mm.
Like, and it seemed based off the clothing, it seems definitely like Echidna. But she said she still asks, "Who is this?" And then she says, following after that, she says, "This should be Echidna's graves."
That could be like a rhetorical thing.
Yeah, but no, she says like, "Who is this?" And then she says, "This should be Echidna's grave." When she's like looking directly at the person that's in the casket.
Yeah, she could be confused by like all the magic that's going on. I, s- I'm gonna remember that you said that. In my head, like when I listened to it, I thought it was like rhetorical, like I know in Japanese sometimes there's like a so this is the grave or something like. There's a lot
Mm.
of rhetorical language in it, so I just kind of assume that. But you could be that could be something else. Maybe I wish they would tell us or they would show us before that whatever sort of image that Echidna is putting off or that the characters see is different from the grave that we see.
What if Echidna in these dreams has made herself start making herself really pretty, but like it's like when you meet her in real life, it's like her without her makeup.
Oh, she what is it called? What's the thing? Um, what is that? What is that app that you like put on and it makes you like look? You know what I'm talking about? She face tuned herself in real
Face
life.
tune herself. But yeah, based off of your saying what you were saying about like her being able to see different possibilities. My theory on like what Amelia saw in that dream is yes, I think some of them may have been like past things, like past altercations or past like possibilities, but I think they're way more likely to be glimpses of the side stories, of the sin stories, if that makes sense.
That's interesting.
I think those possibilities, specifically like I think this the phrases coming out of these things are phrases and like possibilities that happen in the sin stories that ReZero has. So like if you don't know, if you're watching so you don't know, ReZero has like this theme of where Subaru could have fucked up in a lot of places in his journey or whatever, and each one of those places like kind of deals with a sin. So it's just pretty much like if Subaru did this, there's this whole other story that happens, and there's like a whole book describing like what happens if Subaru does like is a little bit extra greedy or a little bit extra like prideful. I haven't really got into any of them. I heard a little bit about them. The only one that I generally kind of know what happens is like the first one with I think it's like the sloth ending or whatever. Ram accepts Subaru's offer, or Subaru was more convincing to Ram to like run away with him, and there's like a whole story based off of that.
Hmm.
And I think these the ones that Amelia saw are the ones that Amelia heard and saw are the specific ones of other greed stories that are just like generally worse, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's possible. What do you think the stars are? Because I know from what I've heard, I've read like I haven't read anything extra from the show or in the light novel, but I know that this next arc is called Stars That Make History. So my question is, what are these stars? Are they spirits? Are they like I know if we're taking it from I know this show takes a lot from like Greek and Roman mythology and like different world mythologies, and I wonder if they like this has some sort of connection to I don't know whatever I got the gods or something like that or some sort of like higher being or like higher will that exists because aren't the stars in like the in like Greek mythology don't they have like some sort of significance in fate or something.
I definitely do. I know there's a star because they explained the colossals, not the colossals, the the things that make the pictures in the stars. What are they called?
Constellations.
Yeah, like I know there's a mythology specifically about the the that word. What's the word you said?
Constellations.
About the constellations. But I don't remember it from the top of my head. I'll probably. I think I'm gonna disagree. I think the stars are just representations of different possibilities. Maybe it's more. And if it does equal more, yeah, no, I think it's just like a representation of possibilities. And this is like kind of how Echidna like organizes her space of like different paths that people can go down.
Okay, I can see that. My second like thing is that they could be like they kind of look like spirit orbs, like the orbs of the spirits. So I wonder if they could also be great spirits. But I think what you're saying is also likely as well. They could just be a part of Echidna's magic.
Like going on with like that and continuing like to the witches or whatever. The witches seem like they know Amelia, or but they definitely know her mom. So does this kind of just soft confirm that Mitch's mom is Stella?
Satala. I have a separate theory that I told you earlier.
Ooh, let me hear it again because I forgot.
Okay. I think that the Satala connection is what was the word? What's the word when you like when you throw something up and it's like a miss?
A faint.
Yeah, I think it's a feint. I think that Satala's real not Satala. I think that Amelia's real mother is actually Pandora.
Hmm.
And I think that would explain a few things. I think it would explain Mother Fortuna's reaction to Pandora when she arrived. I think some of the references people make when they say that, like, hey, just you, like, being alive is sort of like a curse or an evil. I think that would make sense if, like, you know, Pandora's name is like comes from the whole the story of like someone opening like Pandora is the girl that opened the box that like let evil into the world.
It let a whole bunch of like plagues and evil in the world, but also the one thing, the most detrimental evil of them all, hope.
Yeah. And I don't know, I think Amelia could be like a literal thing, like she is like kind of the evil, the thing that is released on the world that shouldn't exist. They have a similar hair color. I mean, if we're just going that way, I think that makes sense.
They don't have the same fashion. We already know. We made like 3 theories about fashion earlier.
Yeah, the fashion. But I think most of all is that the thing that like has never sat right with me is that I don't think that Satala, she doesn't seem like she really has a plan. Like when there was a mention of, oh, this person, like even setting Amelia up with Mother Fortuna was a part of like this her Amelia's mother's plan. And I haven't seen Satala like seem that she has like a big mastermind of a plan. But Pandora definitely seems that she is at the crux of the witch cult and whatever they're planning. She's out of all the people that have plans, she seems like she's the person who has the most planny of a plan. And
What do you mean, Roscoe? Stella's plan is to make sure Subaru doesn't die.
Yeah, like other than that, that's the only thing. I mean, I could be wrong. She could have something that she wants, and this could all be towards her goal. But when I think of like someone that seems to be very like cerebral, seems to have a goal that we don't really understand. I mean, other than the Witch of Envy, like it seems to be Pandora. Her like quest to get Amelia to open up the door, to open up the seal, her command of the witch cult all seem to point to that.
Yeah, I don't 100% agree with this theory, but I definitely see the point. Like right. Like Pandora definitely has a clear goal to open this door that she needs Amelia for. And we don't even know like what that causes, if that makes sense. We know what it causes. It causes the end of the world. That's what people keep saying.
I just really hope that it's that there, if that is true, there's a scene where it's like they do like a Star Wars thing, where it's like, Luke, I am your mother. No.
No.
And that could make sense. That could actually
Impossible.
that could actually go into the apocalypse theory.
Mm.
Not Satala. Amelia could be talking to Pandora, like, from the moment I met you, I saw you, I've always hated you. That seems like that would be the most true for out of anybody that we've seen. Like the second that Amelia saw, I keep saying Satala. Amelia saw Pandora, that meant basically the death of everyone that she knew. When Pandora showed up with the Archbishop of Greed, or that was basically the end of her happy childhood. That was the moment everything changed. So I think that would make sense if we looked at the apocalypse future and said, I have always hated you. I think she would be the most likely candidate. But that would also mean that she's I don't think that Pandora is a vampire, if that's true, because that would make Amelia part vampire.
I guess my there's a theory, but it's way out there. I don't think it's like a main canon theory, but maybe like this is like a sin story theory or whatever. But what if Subaru wasn't an ally but an antagonist to Amelia? What if there was like a possibility where Subaru was like this person that is like antagonist to Amelia and her like lifehood, and he's like using his like return for death powers to really like fuck her life over? Do you think that could, like, I'm guessing, like, do you think there's any possibility that Subaru could be the one on the wrong end of this stick? If that makes sense.
That was my first thought. That would be really interesting if they managed to do that. If it turned out like that Amelia, because Amelia kind of, like, if we're going on, that's also a good point. If we are going on the future that we've seen, or the present that has continued, like, we didn't start from like Amelia really liking Subaru. I don't think we also ended up in the one. So this current timeline, is this still take place when Amelia gets angry at Subaru for accusing her of being, or the witch, the first time she met?
Oh no, not this one. This is not the timeline when that happens.
Yeah.
I was like saying like this is the timeline where the cringe art happens, and he does that stupid thing and gets beat the fuck up by a wooden stick.
Yeah. Yeah. So that could also apply. That could be Subaru as well.
Yeah. And I don't think this is like a main story thing. I think this would be like, I could easily see this be kind of like an alternate story, if that makes sense. But I don't know.
I have two more observations. I'm done. One is that like we kind of verified that Puck's ability to get bigger and smaller doesn't affect his magic ability or his power at all. And the second, I just want to point out that scene. Garfield is 15, and Vampire is several hundred years old. It's a little sketch. That's all I'm gonna say. That's all. That's my only caveat. I'm not gonna mention it anymore. It's just kind of weird.
Well, you know, she did say that, like, you know, their relationship begins when he's dead.
Our relationship begins when you're dead.
Yeah, like he's like, yeah, you know, that's when I'm gonna like you the best, when you're a corpse. Because of her fucked up backstory.
Yeah.
I guess like the one last thing I wanted to say was like, why Minerva? Why did Minerva be the one that like greets Amelia? It might be just because she's the nicest out of all the witches, it seems.
Yeah,
but like, I don't know.
Out of all the other ones, she seems to be the one most allied with Subaru in a way that is not what's the word I'm looking for? Not intentional. The most what's the word for real when something's real? Genuine.
Yeah, I don't know. I was just wondering why Minerva. Maybe like she obviously has a connection with Amelia's mom. And I was just wondering like maybe there's something more there where like maybe I'll put it this way. Maybe Minerva has like is friends with like Amelia's mom or something like that. If that makes sense. Maybe.
Hmm.
And that's why she's like kind of okay with like kind of want to seize the best for Amelia in a way, and Subaru is like a kind of a part of that.
Yeah, and we still don't know the
Uh,
relationship between the witches and each other. Like I don't think we've ever seen a, we haven't seen a flashback of any of them together. Oh, we've seen the Witch of Greed by herself, and that's it.
what are you saying? We did see a flashback with Echidna, all the witches together, even like the Witch of Envy.
We saw
Not a
a
flashback.
flat. Yeah, I know. I'm saying we
No,
haven't
no.
seen in their real life. We haven't seen them growing up. We don't know if they
Oh
grew
yeah,
up together or anything. Is what I'm saying.
yeah, yeah. We don't know about that. But like I was just saying, like maybe like maybe a Minerva. It makes sense for Minerva to talk to like this witch's daughter when she's like friends with her mom, I guess. I don't think there's any. I don't have any much holding up this theory, but just throwing it out there.
Mm. Do you have any more final ops? Oh, my last one, my other last one I forgot is to say is that Garfield is this strong. I wonder how strong Garfield's dad is, because Garfield's he's not a full beast person.
No, he's not a full beast person.
He's just more of a beast person than Frederica.
Yeah, and even that the power limits are like the power levels are like changing so drastically. Like Roswell seems super duper strong now because he's able to handle Puck and the Ram at the same time in a way.
Mm.
Even though Puck's kind of like not going full all out, I'm guessing she's not. Puck's not apocalypse yet. Um, yeah, what you say? Go ahead.
I was just saying I really want to see. I really can't wait to see Garfield's dad. If this is what Garfield's capable of.
Yeah, I don't like. I remember what we were talking about earlier in this episode in this season. We were like saying like, man, I'm worried that Subaru is gonna have like too much power and like be like too capable. And then I saw this episode. I was like, oh, I'm not worried at all. He's totally fucked in any situation.
Yeah. Yeah, he is.
Man.
Yeah, you're right. He is like, he's not the smartest, not the strongest. His only advantage is that if he dies, he can come back.
He has the video. He has his only advantage is he has a video game power.
Yeah, and we don't know how finite it is.
Yeah, yeah. It might be just as that's the thing. Like we still don't know too much on the Witch of Envy, right? Like what really drives this person? Like I really want to know why this person likes or is like doing so much for Subaru, and it would make a lot of sense if like this is like a circle thing where it's like Amelia becomes the Witch of Envy, and then Amelia like forces like Subaru back in the world, and it's like a cycle thing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But like, there's a good possibility that it's not because they're pushing like very heavily that Amelia is not the Witch of Envy.
Yeah.
So fudge-ballic weird.
Yeah. Oh. Also, I guess if to go to like my Pandora theory, it would make more sense that Satala would have no problems with killing Amelia if she wasn't his mother that one time.
Yeah. That was that scene is still also pretty memorable. Where it's like I was like, oh man, Super's gonna just die again. And I was like, oh, he lived. Oh, that's nice. And then she just fucking like collapsed over.
Yeah.
It's like, damn, the Witch of Envy doesn't give no fucks.
We'll see. Are we ready to move on to the speculation palace?
Yeah, I'm ready. I think I got everything out.
The palace of speculation, the grounds of future progression.
Yeah. Which called what are your thoughts for next episode? What do you predict?
I don't have a prediction for this episode. I have a prediction for episode 25, however.
Ooh.
And
going in way in the future.
It's just gonna be what I've always said is that Subaru is going to die by the end of the season. I don't think that all this change that he has made is going to be or at least all of it. I don't think all of it's going to be super permanent. I'm hoping that he will die and we'll have an, or maybe it could be episode 24. Hopefully, we'll have a chance to save Ram. I'm hoping.
I don't think maybe Ram's still alive. You never know.
True.
Like I guess before we go into the speculation, the thing what I want to point out, I want to ask real quick. Do you think I think Ursula's still alive 100%.
Yeah.
100%. Too strong of a power.
Hippopotamus is not going to kill her. If King Arthur, Prince Charming, couldn't murder her with his freaking master sword attack, there's no way just slamming a giant hippopotamus on her is going to help.
But yeah, is there any more to your prediction? Or is that it?
Do I have anything else? I'm really curious about what happened in between the time skip between when Amelia finishes the trial and the apocalypse starts, because it seems like it doesn't have anything to do with. At first I thought it had something to do with Amelia, but it seems like it is just that magic thing that attracts the bunnies. Or do the bunnies bring the snow?
No, the snow only happens. Well, it could be. I think it's two possibilities. I think it could be either Puck being Puck, or it could be Roswell got back to the crystal and was able to cast that huge spell. I think this is how it works. Roswell casts this huge spell to change the weather, to make it snow or whatever, to like affect Amelia, and then the bunnies come because like someone cast a huge spell, and the bunnies are attracted to eating things that like cast like a ridiculous amount of magic.
Okay, I'm gonna say like it's probably that. I think it's that. I think we were saying Puck maybe also could cause it as well, maybe. But I think you're right. It's either I think it's one of those two. It might just be that Roswell is able to stop the advances of Puck and Ram.
Maybe, or Puck could just be going wild and out, going all out, balls to the wall.
Yeah.
Puckpocalypse never stops.
You can't stop the Puckpocalypse.
Yeah. For my predictions, I think all of next episode, at least half of next episode, is gonna be Subaru convincing Beatrice, and I think he's going to enter in a contract with Beatrice to get her out of the place. I think that's gonna be half the episode. I think the other half of the episode is gonna be like what you're talking about there. It's gonna be Amelia. I think Amelia is going to make it over to where Puck and Ram are fighting, and like pretty much save Ram's life, and she's probably gonna hit Roswell with some type of crazy power that we don't know about.
Yep. If there's one thing this show likes to do, it's make up random powers and apply them at moments when they're most needed.
What's called, or not even needed.
Yeah.
What's called? I'm maybe I don't think it's gonna be something as violent as like the snow flowers that happens in the movie, but maybe something along those lines, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And I don't think it's gonna kill Rosario. And I think the last portion of this episode, Garfield is gonna be getting fatigue, and Ursula is gonna like keep coming back and like keep her assault going or whatever. And the way they're gonna like get Ursula to leave is by using Millie as like a bargaining trip or whatever, and saying like, hey, you stop this now and Millie doesn't die, because Ursula confirms that she sees Millie as like a little sister.
Yeah. How do you think Roswell's gonna react when he finds his house is burnt down?
He doesn't care about anything, so he probably won't care. He won't care.
The only thing I care about is the love and affection of my waifu. All this little to me.
Yeah. I don't think it's gonna happen this episode, but I think the devastating thing that's gonna happen is gonna happen in episode 25, and Subaru is either gonna get a strong trail or like a big hint of like how to find the apostle of gluttony, and maybe he has to do something ridiculously hard before he can even like get to the apostle of gluttony.
I forgot that he hasn't showed up yet at all.
Yeah, and I think that's gonna happen in episode like 25, and maybe be as simple as like Pandora shows up and has a direct conversation with the Subaru, and be like, hey, if you want to save Rem, you have to go kill this snake or something like that. And I think that is going to be maybe lead to into a death, and then that death is gonna like restart exactly not at the beginning of this episode. He's gonna have like a save point like right after he's done resolving everything, right? Like everyone's gonna be fine, and like Subaru's gonna go out to the forest and like, I don't know, take a piss or whatever, and Pandora's gonna show up and start saying like, hey, I'm the narrator, you ready for me to blow your fucking mind?
Yeah. Well,
but yeah, that's my prediction.
Okay. I think that's a good place to stop. That's the end of the episode. If you're watching this, you've lasted an hour long into our conversation. Thank you. You have bested the algorithm yet again. If you like this sort of content and you want to see other content, some content that may be a little bit different, hit the subscribe button. And as always, lick that like button. Or no, don't lick the like button.
Don't lick like buttons. But we really appreciate you watching and listening, or listening, probably just listening. And yeah, thanks for besting the algorithm. If you like the video, like the video. If you don't. And if you have any interesting theories or any interesting like comics or whatever, put it down in below. Even if you have like any interesting theories or anything like that, maybe there's some type of translation thing that we're missing. Just leave it in the comments and we'll try to pick them up. But make sure there's no spoilers in it.
Yeah.
Or try not to.
Yeah, but let us know how you think about the episode for sure. I'm always interested in hearing more theories, new things, new ideas. Yeah, thanks for watching.
Yeah, thanks for watching. And thank you, Wasco, for talking with me.
Anytime.
All right. Well, thanks again, and take it easy.
Nobody.
What's up?
I fucked up again.
Damn.
I fucked up again for the second time. I had this freaking mute button on.
For how long? How long, Roscoe?
Let's see. It's probably been like, the full time.
Fuck.
Man, my English is going to hell after like all this Japanese, man.
It's because your Japanese is getting better.
Yeah.
I will defend the first movie of Twilight to my grave.
That is a weird hill to die on, I'm not gonna lie.
And that's why this episode is sponsored by Wikipedia. Please give us money.
Yeah, don't be an asshole and give us money because we've provided you free educations for probably the most of your life.
If all of you just gave all your money away right now, we wouldn't have to do this ever again.
I just need $1. How much does $1 really cost?
How much does $1 cost? What was that Kendrick Lamar verse? The price of a spot, perch in heaven, embrace your loss. I am God.
Yeah.
Yeah, which is, I don't know how people finish in 3 months. To do that, you have to be really fast at writing cards.
No.
And or just have a lot of time.
No. See, you're going the logical way. I go the illogical way. It's because they're all lying. They're all lying to you, Roscoe.
I will now subject myself to public shaming in the comment section.
Where's that bell lady?
Shame. Shame. Shame.
It's a lot of episodes.
Yeah, we only have 2 more episodes left. Sad face.
Sad face emoji. What will we do? How are we gonna deal with this emptiness of when it's gone? I'm gonna have to get another show and get addicted to it and then feel empty again. It's a vicious cycle.
Yeah.
It's a vicious cycle.